When you're creating videos on YouTube, depending on what kind of video you create, it's always nice to have a good intro. Well, today I'm going to show you how to make an intro for YouTube videos in Camtasia. Let's dive in right now. Alright, first thing you want to do is make sure that you have your video project file ready, and I have that on my desktop. If you don't know what I'm talking about, make sure that you watch that video so that you can understand how important it is to have a video project file folder. Inside my folder, I have the assets I need, so I'm going to open up Camtasia, and I'm going to drag and drop the logo inside. So there we go, there's the logo, and I can go up and down and side to side to make sure it's right in the center. Now that I have my logo here, I can see it does not look good on the canvas. So I'm going to come right up here and I'm going to go to the project settings. And in the project settings, there's two things I really want to look at. Number one, I want to make sure that the project setting size is what I want. And I want it to be 1080p because 1080 is the best size for YouTube. So it's set at that, and I don't want it to be this black, so I'm going to come over here and I can move this slider forward and back, and of course I can choose any of these colors here, but I'm going to slide it, well, about there. That's where I want it at, okay, and hit apply. Now this looks pretty good right there, but the big question is, how long should your intro be? In my opinion, that intro should not be any more than about 5 to 10 seconds. Okay, keep your intro as short as possible. Keep in mind that when people came to your video, they saw either the title or the thumbnail, and it told them you have an answer to a question, a problem, or something. So they're looking for that answer, and you need to get it to them as quickly as possible. So in this intro, I'm going to come right down here to the image, and I'm going to right click on that and go to duration, and I'm going to set that for 7 seconds. And I'll play with that for the moment. Now I'm going to come over here and hit the plus icon so that, or I'll drag this, and it just kind of gives me some more room to kind of look at what I've got going on right here. Now that I have the logo on the screen, well, I don't want it just to appear, I want it to animate. So I'll come over here to the left hand side, click on animations, and I'm going to drag this custom animation down onto the timeline on top of my image. Now I have two nodes. You can see it went directly to the end, and I have a node in the very front. Okay, at the end, that's telling me, well, what do you want the image to look like at the very end, and well, what do you want it to look like at the very beginning? So I'm going to click at the beginning, and I'll just come down here and scale this all the way down to nothing, and so there it is at 1%. So right now, if I drag my slider, then this is what's going to happen, and it will open up, okay? Well, I'm going to drag this all the way back to the very beginning, and the longer you have this, the longer it's going to take for that to happen. So let's just play that real quick. There we go. It's opened up. I'm creating this intro for a friend who has a Bible channel, and it's called What Does the Bible Say About? So this would be a great logo for him, but this topic, he can use this and put the topic down here. So let me move this up. And let's say that the topic that he's going to discuss is on grief, and it's about celebrating a loved one's birthday in heaven. So what I want to do is put that title down here. So let me go over to annotations, and I'm going to grab some text, put it here in the center, and I'm just going to drag this out. I want the text to end up being about that size right there. And I'm going to right click and say, let's edit the text. And let's put birthdays in heaven. How about celebrating birthdays in heaven? Now my text is a little too big right there, so I'm going to right click, edit that text again, and over here I can pull that slider down. And that looks good, but it's white. Well, I need it to be black. I'll click on that color icon. Click that. There we go. We have it on black. Not too crazy about that text. Let me, once again, edit that text. And you can see we have a lot of text right here. And I like Tahoma, so I'm going to put Tahoma there because I actually use Tahoma on the logo at the top. And do I want it bold? No, I don't think I want it bold. I'm going to leave it regular. And there we go. Now, so far, let me drag this over. All right, so if I move the slider over, we'll get an idea what it looks like. And then there's the actual title of lesson that he would teach. That looks pretty good, but we also need some music, okay? So let me grab some music, and it's always good to kind of maybe have use the same music all the time. That way you begin branding your channel. So I've got an audio file, and I'm going to drag and drop that over here. There we go. And I can see, all right, I can see it doesn't actually start till about here. And I want it to start sooner since my intro is going to be short. So I'm going to put it there and come back. Let's take a look at what we have. All right, so far that looks pretty good, but it's still kind of plain. Let's see if we can't jazz it up a little bit. So here we have this coming in, and our music actually naturally fades in with this particular one, but it doesn't fade out here. So what I'll do is right here, I'm going to right click and say let's add an audio point, and I'll come over here and I'll right click and I'll add another audio point. Really doesn't matter where it's at because I can move those audio points around, but now that I've got 2 audio points on there, I can drag this down so that the audio actually fades out, and then that way the lesson that he creates, we can put it right there, and then it can begin. So let's finish up the actual intro. So here we are. That looks pretty good right there. However, let's see if we can't give it a little bit more style here. Let's grab another animation, and I'll drag that animation on here. And let's say that we drag it all the way to the end, and I want the actual logo to get even larger, okay? So let's take and let's scale this up to, there we go. That looks pretty good. And I think I'm going to change my, well, let's see what that looks like right there. So if that comes in to there, all right, let's play it. All right, that looks pretty good, but there's this big, you see how it blanks right there. Well, let's see if we can make it more subtle. So we're going to go into the transitions, and I'm going to look for a fade. I'll come down here, and I'm going to grab a fade, and I want my text to fade. And I want it to fade in, and I want it to fade out. So there we have a fade, and if we watch, I'll play it from right here. There, it faded out. But I need all of this to fade out as well. So I'm going to grab a fade, put it down here. And now let's take a look and see what we have. Now that looks pretty good. I think I want my texture to be a little bit larger here, so I'm going to click on that. And I want this to be larger, so how about I put it there? But how does that look at the very beginning? All right, let's give that a try. Let me save this. And let's play it. Now that actually looks pretty good. I think I probably need that text to come down just a little bit. And probably bring the image down just a hair. And let me bring it down a little bit more. All right, I think that's going to look pretty good. Now let's try it one more time. All right, that looks pretty good. Now that we're there, let's see how that would look if we put the lesson in front of it. The lesson is right there, but I don't want it to start off just there. That lesson's not the same size as our project, so there we go. Make it the same size. And there's some stuff on the front that needs to be trimmed off. Looks like I need to increase the audio. And let's see here where I want it to start out.
Out here on our front porch, and we've been thinking about Pammy. Pammy Pooh. Today Pam would have been 69 years.
Okay, right there he says today Pam. All right, so what I think I'm going to do is I'm going to split that. Let me get rid of that. Let's drag this all over to the very front. Here we go. So now that we have the video in there, let's take a look at how it looks all together. This will give you an idea of how your intro looks right before you begin speaking to your audience.
Today Pam would have been 69 years old. So we're celebrating. I stopped.
That's great. So that gives you an idea what you can do and how to make an intro for YouTube videos in Camtasia 2021. Having the right intro for your YouTube channel can make all the difference in the world. It's really important to brand it, and you want to keep things consistent. So for the music, I would use that same music every single time, and then when people are watching your channel, they hear that music and they will associate it with you. It's your brand. You can create the same type of intro, and you can create different intros depending on different topics, different things. So don't be afraid to play around with it, test it, but you can see it really is easy to create an intro inside Camtasia 2021. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to comment. Tell me what you learned and what else you'd like to learn in Camtasia. Also, make sure to subscribe. Hit that notification bell so that you can get alerts when the next video goes live.